Well, we've had a great morning hanging out, watching TV, watching the world go by. And Hank is out, he's cutting grass, got his big tractor out cutting grass. So I figured this is a good time to go show you guys around the little historic town of Matewan. Good a time as any, ain't it? Got some, he was telling me I've got some neighbors coming. Got some people coming to rent a couple of those, so I'll probably have me some neighbors for tonight. That's okay though, we don't mind, right? But all right, I guess there's not much left to do except load up and head on out and let Hank get his work done. Old tractor, ain't it? Listen how good that thing still runs though. I think he said it's 40 years old. He said the only thing it needs is a paint job. I said, I can relate, man. I can relate. You got to keep them going, right? That thing's 20. Got to keep them going. Of course, that one's 26, but I can't take credit for that. I just got it. So I can't take credit for any of its longevity. All right, let's load up and head on out. I've got some really cool spots I want to show you around town a little bit, and head on out and show you some of the historic spots. It's not that difficult if you know which way to go, basically. And so I'm going to kind of give you a layout, give you a general idea of in relation to the town of Matewan, show you around town a little bit, and give you an idea of where some of these historic sites are in relation to the town. So, you know, any of you come down here or just curiosity, want to see it, we'll have you a nice video up. Cool. Okay, now this is basically the entrance to Matewan, West Virginia. This is the West Virginia side here. That's the Kentucky side right there. And town, I thought about just doing a drive-through, but I figured I'd probably better walk it. There's an incredible amount of history in this one little itty-bitty town, from Hatfield McCoy feuds to all sorts of things. There goes Chief of Police Dave. He's got Sid Hatfield's old job from the old stories. Yeah, we'll be touching on Sid here in a minute, but yeah, he's got Sid's old job. Imagine that. But anyway, just as you can see right here, there's several historical markers here. 1, 2, 3, 4 right there, and plus this. Now on this end you have the this is the old depot. It's a replica of the old depot that used to be here in town, and there's a museum in there. If y'all get up this way, really cool old museum. I've been inside there. We did a video on that 6 months ago, something like that. But there's all kinds of artifacts and old mine script and things like that inside there. Really, really, really cool. Old telegraph machines and all sorts of things. But like I said, I figured the best way to do this, because there's such a lot of stuff here, I figured the best way to do it, we just do a quick walk through and then, you know, kind of give you, how y'all doing? Give y'all the layout of the town. It just goes down here. It's not very big. It goes right straight up here, turns, and comes back out. And the Hatfield McCoy historic sites, there's a lot of them over that way. So my plan is, and up this way as well, my plan is to kind of give you a general idea of the town, layout of the town, a little bit of the buildings, some of the history, that sort of thing. And then we'll get back in the truck, and there's a couple things over here I want to show you, and then we'll work our way out through there. I want to show you where these places are. They're really close, and you know, kind of show you where they are in relation to Matewan. There's my cousin. Hey Tommy. Yeah, I know about half of the town, something like that. I'm related to about 20% of them, so yeah, I probably should know them, shouldn't I? But among other things, you know, not necessarily historical related, the Hatfield McCoy trails start right there. That's the entrance to the Devil Ants trail system for trail riders. And right here we have the Trailhead Bar and Grill. I brought many trail riders, but this used to be a bank. Just a few years ago it was a bank, and it's a really nice restaurant. We'll show you in real quick. Just show you around real quick, show you what the place looks like. How you doing? Bar back there, seating area. There's seating outside as well. They have really good food here, drinks too, obviously. But they've got a drink called liquid marijuana that's apparently pretty popular. And they have these big pretzels, like the size of your head, you know, that comes out on a great big hook. There's just something cool about it, you know, breaking bread with your friends and family, you know what I'm saying? And this is where people put pins in the map from wherever they happen to be from. Looks like the East Coast from, Kansas over comes here trail riding quite a bit, don't they? Wow, look at that, up in Canada. Way up in here, look at that. That is cool. Look here. Alaska, Russia. Somebody from, I got put a pin in Russia. Wow. Hawaii. That is cool. The big island of Hawaii. That is really cool. Alright, moving on. They've got t-shirts and stuff like that too, and hats and things. But they're really good food, you know. Stop in, get a cold beer on the trails, that kind of thing. Just don't do too many. Get back out on the trails. Bad things will happen. It's the only trail tour I ever refused was some guys at 9:30 a.m. We were meeting in the parking lot. That's their outside seating area. We were meeting in a parking lot, and it was 9:30 a.m. and one of the guys fell off the ATV in the parking lot. It was trashed, and I had to, you know, look guys, I'm really sorry guys, but I cannot take you out riding today. Well, why? If I do, you're gonna die. It's just as simple as that. But now this right here, little rental, you can rent the house. And a lot of these, you know, there's a lot of Airbnbs in the area. We don't have any large hotel chains. That works out good though, because you get, you know, a nice little house for not much more than you'd pay for a hotel room somewhere. Now this right here used to be the old hospital. And back in the day, you know, yeah, using that word again, back in the day, Heather. Back in the day, this was the hospital for Matewan. And let me cross right here. I want to show you something. If you notice, the two houses, well, it's one house now, right? You see how it's one big long house? Back when this was a hospital, this was the doctor's house, this was the dentist's house. And later in years, the dentist, he passed away. The doctor bought their land out and made it all one big house and ran the hospital himself from right across the street. Now, speaking of getting back across the street, this is a friend of ours as well right here. And this old seed store, look at this. Of course, this is Airbnbs, working on them, you know, for people to stay in. A good friend of ours right here, he's a Hatfield, owns this, and you know, it's that they fix dinners, and you know, it's just a really cool little place to stay. We've got several of those. But this right here is the old seed store from 1918 when this was built. And Donald and Kathy, they own Wingo's next door to the restaurant. I'll show you here in a second. But this is their place as well. And they just put out, you know, old artifacts and stuff like that. And if you catch Donald here, he'll show you around. He's got some more cool stuff. And old maps and all kinds of things. Really good guy. Look at them old doors. They look like they've been there a long time, don't they? What's that? Captain's quarters. Parts of a steel and some tires, if you need any tires. He rides. Donald rides a bike. And side by side. So, okay. Anthracite coal. Big piece. Look at that old Foot Locker. Now this is their double barrel smoking grills. When Kathy and Donald fire these bad boys up, and you know, trail riders coming into town, this is the most irresistible smell you've ever encountered in your life. It will draw you into town. You will either come to town and get some barbecue here at Wingo's, or you will starve to death. The smell is unbelievably delicious. So you get them smokers going, the whole town just smells fantastic. Now this is Wingo's. Very popular restaurant. They're closed today. Closed for Mother's Day. Kathy's a mom. But that's Wingo's. Really good food, really rustic setting, you know, that kind of thing. You come here, that's what you want. You know, you don't want institutional, industrial kitchen, you know. You want rustic. You want old tables and things. And this is David's here. This is the historic Matewan house, bed and breakfast now. Pretty, isn't it? Now this here is the Mine Wars Museum. It was the bank. It was a bank for, you know, it was built as a bank. You can see drive-thrus. But it's been converted to the Mine Wars Museum. And it's just fitting that that word just now comes up because we're at the Matewan Massacre site. And that's the museum directly across the street. They have all kinds of stuff. The events from here can't be overstated. The events that happened here and the repercussions that followed this, and a few other events that were related to this. Okay, there were a few others, the Molly McGuires and that sort of thing. You see, in the Matewan Massacre in 1920, area miners went on strike to gain recognition of the UMWA. On May 19th of the same year, 12 Baldwin Felts agency guards, came from Bluefield to evict the miners from company houses. As guards left town, they argued with the police chief and Police Chief Sid Hatfield and Mayor Testerman. Shooting of undetermined origins resulted in the deaths of 2 coal miners, 7 agents, and the mayor. None of the 19 men indicted were convicted. And the thing about this, at the time, y'all have all heard of the gunfight at the OK Corral, right? Everyone's heard of that. At the time, the OK Corral was the number 2 largest gunfight. This was number 1. And there are bullet holes right here. There was a famous shoot. Well, I'll do it this way. It's a really long, convoluted story to explain the entire thing. And we have done it on other videos. So, you know, specifics, you know, that sort of thing. But basically, this is Sid Hatfield right here. And I'll be going by his grave here in a little while. As a matter of fact, he was the chief of police here in Matewan. And that right there is his old office. On the left side is City Lockup. The right side is City Hall. Mayor Testerman, also the gentleman that got killed, the mayor, in the gunfight here that day. And this is Albert Felts. If you look, there are still to this day, these are actual bullet holes from the gunfight that day. And if you look, the way it's pointing, you see that stop sign right there? Right about there is where this particular shooter was positioned. And when they put in the flood wall, the Corps of Engineers put in the flood wall over there, that also changed a lot of aspects of the town, obviously. But at one time I read that it was the most flooded town in America. Imagine that, you're living in the most flooded town in America. Matewan Historic District has been designated a National Historic Landmark. This district possesses national significance in commemorating the history of the United States of America. 1997, National Park Service. That is really cool. This right here is the original town. This section of buildings right here with the awnings, basically. This is the original buildings, the Nini building and so on. Let's see here. What's in nowadays? The old depot is right down here as well too. But you can tell they just look, the doorways just look like something from a bygone era, don't they? New City Hall, well, newish City Hall, I think 80s. I always thought it was kind of pretty. A little bit, I don't know, the dome, yeah. But there's the old bank building right there. That's where the museum is. And like I said, there's all kinds of stuff in there. Old mining equipment and all sorts of things. Hello, ladies. Now this is a friend of ours owns this. He does airboat tours on the river as well. But just all kinds of, you want to take a look around? Why not? See what they got. Okay, I have that shirt. I got that shirt. I got that shirt. I got that shirt. Heather has that shirt. I got that hoodie. Oh, you're fine. Just all kinds of little cool gadgets. Wind chimes. And the back street, which was at one time the main street. That's where we were just at. The bullet holes are right up here. Okay. The doctor said I needed to start drinking more moonshine. Also, I'm calling myself the doctor now. That's cute. Sasquatch feet. Okay, now we're coming up on the old depot right here. These were department stores and so on and so forth. Of course, they've changed hands and become many things over the years, I'm sure. But this here was the old train depot here in Matewan. And we got to take a look at the depot, right? Just a quick peek. It's now a Mexican restaurant. And yes, I have had lunch here many times. Really good food.
Is it just you?
No, I'm just videoing.
Oh, okay.
Just checking it out.
Oh, okay.
Thank you. Cool little place, huh? But like I said, this used to be the old depot. You'd wait for the trains and meet your train. Right out back, you could have lunch and all this good stuff. Read the local news. See what's going on in the community. And wait for your train. Now the old Blue Goose right there. The old Blue Goose used to be a bar. and I think it's an inn now. They're turning it into an Airbnb basically. But years ago, it was a really, really, really wild bar. It's moved a time or two too. But yeah, I can remember Mom telling me that back in the 50s, she worked as a dishwasher at the Blue Goose, and she said there was like fights every night and just wild, wild place. Let's see, the other end of the depot. It's the rest of the Mexican restaurant. That's my table right back there. That's where I usually go, near the bathroom. Huh. Appalachian. Hello. Appalachian Lost and Found Artisan Alco.
I'm sitting here jamming.
What's that?
I'm sitting here jamming to my music.
Oh, what is it? What you working on?
I'm working on my third cousin, actually. It's for my first cousin. She hired me to do it.
Really?
But it's her granddaughter, which is my third cousin.
Wow.
She's putting on these shoes, but my cousin wanted the shoes because that's the main thing. She's got one great old big shoe. I don't know.
That
See
is
the other
amazing.
shoes over here. I've got zoomed in so I can get it, you know. But
That's really good.
there'll be a pink one over here.
That is really good.
Thank you.
That is really impressive.
Thank you. That's what I do.
Yeah.
Everything up here is my artwork. Right.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Very nice.
So what you got?
We have a YouTube channel,
Oh.
and we just kind of we do a lot of stories here in the area, and I figured I'd come up and do a walk around Matewan and
Aw.
you know, kind of show off some of the businesses and some of the stuff, and
That's nice.
telling some of the historic tales and
Yeah.
things like that.
There's
You know.
lots of them. I used
Yeah.
to tell all kinds of them down here at the depot.
Yeah.
Yeah, because I moved up here less than a year ago, but I was down there for 10 years telling stories and doing my artwork.
Okay.
Yeah, yeah. a lot of history in here.
Yeah, there is. There most certainly
into,
is.
You know, the Hatfields and McCoys, because this is like dead center where the feud took place. And matter of fact, if you go up, going across the bridge, if you look upriver, like which is right behind town here. If you look upriver, there's a sand dune down there.
Yeah.
Well, that sand dune on the Kentucky side, it's right at the base of where the McCoy boys were tied up and shot.
Yeah.
So that had to have been where because it's always been there. We have quite a few things in here. We got Ellen Hatfield, which she's next door with her husband because they own all this building here. And so she works at that station, and her daughter works at that station.
Uh-huh.
And Ellen does, she's got a few of her things over there, and then her daughter does the jewelry.
Okay, yeah, I noticed that.
Yeah,
I did notice that right here.
Tug River.
Oh, really?
Yeah,
All this stuff?
well, no, not what's in there.
Oh, okay.
The necklace is hanging over there on that little thing. See the necklace is hanging?
Oh. Here?
Right there in that case.
Okay, yeah.
All that fell right to your left hand in that little box.
Okay, river glass,
It's
yeah.
river glass that she has picked up out of the river and has made jewelry from.
Uh-huh. That's cute, isn't it?
And she don't do anything to them. She just
Little
takes them
slice
out,
of pie.
cleans them up, and then she wraps them with the wire. And
Look at that.
I didn't even know I had 7 of them. I've got 7 at home. They're very addictive. When you get one, you gotta have more.
Yeah. The oldest piece of river glass I have ever found.
Yes. You see what it says?
Old.
Oh. Not 9 months. Something
You're a
like that.
very good artist.
Thank
You are very good.
Self-taught.
Very good.
This is my new piece.
Really?
Yes. Military.
That is really good work.
My dad was in World War II.
Uh-huh.
And so I'm kind of like
Right.
stuck in
Yeah.
that time period. This
Yeah.
one actually, it's got J.D. Westcott's.
Yeah.
He worked there where he died. And
Yeah,
it's
they just
all
told it.
All the hints throughout that picture pertains to his life.
Really?
Yes. Just like the license plates, it's Scott, dates, date that he was born, what the states that he lived in, and of course we looked at West Scott's, and he had the keys hanging up pertaining to his 3 daughters, key to his heart.
Oh.
The hammer, he used to work on railroads, so NW Railway on it. And
that
of
is
course
really
it's talking
cool.
about Pearl Harbor and all that, you know.
Yeah,
So.
yeah. That is really good work. Talking to you.
What's my senior name is?
My name's Leo.
Leo. I'm Vera Kay. Want little cards?
Yeah.
There you go.
Thank you much.
Find me on Etsy.
Okay. See that, guys? Y'all see that, right? Thank you very much. Nice talking to you.
Nice talking
you have a really good day.
You too.
Okay. Got one more, and we're working on some stuff down there, and we'll kind of work our way around. Now check this one out. Looky here. Appalachian Lost and Found. How y'all doing? Hey. Let's see. Yeah, I knew they made a lot of sauces and stuff. I've seen some of their hot sauce. That is really cool, isn't it? Look at that. Old-fashioned candy. That's how it was done back in the day. You just had a little bin. David, how you doing?
Okay.
I'm still kicking, man. Still kicking.
How you doing with your YouTube?
Doing pretty good. Working on one right now.
There's a lot of people talking about it.
Well, cool. Thank you. There's a whole bunch of mine script right there from various coal mines. And what they do is they would bring you down, promise you the job, the house, the piece of land, all this kind of stuff. And they didn't tell you that they were going to pay you in a little piece of tin that had their initials on it that no one else would take. They didn't tell you that. You didn't find out that part until it was too late. And then, you know, they had you trapped for life. They're not leaving either. Cool. And all kinds of stuff. You got the place set up good.
Thank you. We tried.
Looks really nice in here.
We tell everybody we can sell everything from antiques to apple butter.
There you go. Yeah, I actually have apple butter when you said that.
We got 5 or 6 different kinds, actually. I got more pickles than bubble gum's got shrimp.
Uh-oh. All right, what we got? Let's see, shirts and stuff. Yep, Hatfield McCoy trails. And just general Hatfield McCoys too. Cool stuff. Little Hatfield McCoy shot glasses. There looks a little bit more appropriate, doesn't it? Handmade knives. That's made from a railroad spike. These here are made from railroad spikes. That's cool. Twisted. And those are plates to go on side by sides. You come in and, you know, get one of them and it attaches on your side by side. So I guess you could use them on trucks too, or anything you wanted, I guess, couldn't you? It's pretty, isn't it? That is cool. Blue line. All kinds of antiques. Look at an antique ornaments. Okay, that's not antique. It's got Sasquatch on it. It's not exactly antique. They just look at. Those are antique. I've got some of these at home. What's that? World's Fair beer. 6-pack, $8. It's not bad, you know, for Looks like about 50-year-old can of beer. Okay, guess we need to move on. We still got a lot of stuff to cover here in town. David, take it easy.
All right.
Y'all have a good day, man. Good to see you again. And I here have some old buildings. Look like we're refurbishing, doing a little bit of maintenance. And these over here too, restoring the old buildings. I like to see that, because these are old, these are original buildings. That's Nini's department store I mentioned earlier. They were a staple here forever. And the Statue of Liberty. Yeah, y'all didn't know we had one of them in West Virginia, did you? Now here's the Blue Goose right here. I mentioned a little while ago. Looking good, isn't it? Looking good. 1911. What was the date on that one? I walked right by that one. Okay, yeah, that's right. The theater was here. This is the Matewan Theater, 1925. Harley, nice one. And somebody likes bikes, don't they? I'd probably get along with this person really well. That used to be, when I was little, that was a gas station right there on the corner. It's an insurance place now. This is the Phillips Building, 1911. Now the UMWA Hall here, from what I'm told, was one of the first union halls. And I don't just mean here, I mean period. This was one of the first union halls. Well, not this is a modern building obviously, but on this site, I mean. Now back in the day, before the railroad changed this and the flood wall, you went right down here and turned and went underneath the railroad tracks and back out through that way. There's all kinds of murals of coal miners and different things all down through that way. There's one of them has the picture of the canary in the coal mine, and in case anybody was curious, the way that worked is they would take a canary in, and if there was a methane leak, the canary would die presumably before the humans, and when you saw that the canary was dead, you had just a few minutes to get out of there, or you're next. Now that right there, I don't know if y'all can read that sign from here or not, but that is the corner of Hatfield Street and McCoy Street, right there. That's where the Hatfield Streets meet. Back of the Blue Goose. Now this was the back street back in the day. The main town was, like I said, the main town was over there, and this was sort of a back street, which there was, you know, buildings and things out through here as well, but not necessarily the main drag. New City Hall. I think they built that in the 80s, I'm thinking. I could be wrong, but I'm thinking it was 80s. I always thought the dome just kind of looks out of place in Matewan. You know, it should have, I don't know, a moonshine jug up there or something. And you see all the awnings over there are all of the old historic buildings with, you know, various shops, and some of them are closed. You know, they're open on weekends. So, you know. And of course, Veterans Memorial, the all branches, and some of the names of some of the local Matewan residents lost in some of those wars. There's me, parked by City Hall. I know the mayor and the police chief. Of course, nobody steals nothing here. This isn't exactly a thieving kind of place. Alright, and that is the trailhead and the flood wall. The big flood wall the Corps built. I did another video back down here. The sandbar that the lady at the artisan shop was talking about is right up here, and it's where the Hatfield McCoys and everybody. It's where everybody crossed the river to go back and forth and fight, you know. They got the nice bridge up here now, but the bridge wasn't there then. And you had to cross the river right over here on that sandbar. We did a video not long ago on that. I wonder if that's where she saw that. All right, now I'm gonna get in the truck and we're gonna have to go. It's about 3 miles, but I just want to kind of give you an idea in relation to town, like I said, how you find these things and where they are, and just a general idea of what happened there, that sort of thing. All right, next stop. Now this, I just literally just pulled out. I was parked right there, and you can see City Hall's right behind me. This is the other street. This is, remember I said there's one in, one out. This is the one out. One way. Another Airbnb. And right there's the hospital that I showed you earlier. And it's 606 hemp. I don't know if they had those 100 years ago. Devil Ince Hatfield and Randall McCoy. I don't know if they had hemp stores. But right up here's where I started at the depot. Now to the right up there where that truck is going, if you go that way, it will take you up to where the graveyards are. Ellison Hatfield Cemetery. He was the one that was killed at the hog trial cabin by the 3 McCoy boys, who were subsequently taken down here to the Pawpaw Tree site and executed. And right there's that sandbar that I mentioned, where you cross the river, where the Hatfields cross the river, is right there. Well, Hatfields and McCoys. And let's see, all of these sites down through here now, they're within 3 miles. And right down here is where, on River Road, that's where the campground is that I'm staying at. It's right down there. But remember I was saying, you got real convenient. Look here, you got gas station right here. Right across the street, you've got a little mini mall. So if you're staying up there, you've got groceries and, you know, all sorts of things convenient. But just right down here is where we're going. There's 2 of them together. Now the one on the right, the little road right there, we'll come back to that one in just a second. But right now we are going down here to the left. And it's just right here in this curve. You can't miss it. There's a historical marker right there. And you just pull right down here. Watch out for the rock. And this is the Pawpaw Tree site. This is where, like I said, the 3 McCoy boys, when the stabbing happened at the hog trial cabin, the 3 McCoy boys who stabbed Ellison Hatfield were brought down here and tied up and executed. And the spot itself, it has a, not just that history, it has a little bit of a dark history as well. The spot here is said to be haunted. Just, you know, FYI, right? So, it's haunted with poison ivy too, a whole lot of it. And there's some kissing bugs. I used to bring tourists down here, trail riders and stuff. I always make sure don't stand on the concrete. That thing's got, there's a big nest of kissing bugs underneath that concrete, and they come out, they'll eat you up. But yeah, this is where it happened. This is the spot that is supposedly haunted. Imagine that. The ghost of the 3 McCoy boys was Tobert Farmer and Randall Jr., if I'm not mistaken, were all 3 of the names. Okay, now I'm going to head up the same way, right up that way, and it's about a mile or so, something like that. So I'm going to turn the camera off. The whole distance all the way to the cabin is only like 3 miles. So, you know, but I'm guessing y'all don't want to sit there and watch the whole 3 miles worth. So, you know, turn the camera off for a second. One thing I did forget to mention before we pull out, the Pawpaw Tree site here, it's right over the hill there. You notice the box right there, the power box? A few years ago, a couple years ago, someone bought this little section of dirt right here, and they just use it as a campsite. And maybe 2 or 3 times a year, you'll see they'll bring their camper down here, and they were asking $30,000 for this little piece of dirt, you know, because it's right beside the historic site. You know what I'm saying? But I mean, how much money would you have to have before you'd spend $30K on a little piece of ground, you know, to park your RV, and then however much it costs to run power and water to it too? Yeah, how much money would you have to do that? $30K just on the property, and however much, what, $5 grand to run power and water? You figure good solid $5 grand probably with labor and materials. So you're what, 35K taxes and fees and whatnot, you're up to about 40. So this is a $40,000 camp spot right here where I'm sitting. Imagine that. You know what, on second thought, I think I will go ahead and video some of this down here. It's not that far. I mean, it shouldn't be more than just a couple minutes. What, 3 miles, about 3.5 minutes at most. I remember when I was doing tours, I had a vehicle break down here once. Right here where this mailbox is on the left, I had one break a belt right there once. Right here. I can show you, yeah, all up through here something weird happened at one point or another. Pretty much anywhere you go around here, I can show you something weird happened on tour. This is Hatfield McCoy Park right here. Look at that tree. That thing is massive, isn't it? I think that thing has probably been there. This is the Hatfield McCoy Outdoor Theater right there. They have a play, they still use it from time to time. They had one called Blood Song. It was a play about the Hatfield McCoy feud. They had that back there. But that big tree, I was just thinking, that's as big as that thing is. That was there when a lot of this was going on. A lot of those people that old bridge, a lot of those people drove right by that tree on their horses. Imagine that. Well, rode, they didn't drive. Old abandoned train bridge. Look at that. Let me get right up here where she lands. Abandoned train bridge. Now for you trail riders who looking for the outlaw trails, this is where you go. This is also up here. There's a massive outlaw area. I don't even know it all, and I'm a guide, and well, was till last year. But from what I'm told, it's 10 times bigger than all of the Hatfield McCoy trail systems put together. Just this one outlaw area. I've got some hiding places back in there. I like to go camp from time to time too. It's just really mountainous, wooded, secluded. Now right here on the right, if you'll notice, this is the McCoy pig farm, as in from the Hatfield McCoy feud. Now this isn't where the original pig farm was. We did a story on that as well. It was on up here just a little ways where the Hatfield supposedly stole the pig, and they had the hearing. That's, you know, but the pig farm, the actual pig farm, was right up here. But that spot right there where this one is now was the site of some McCoy stills. They had, from my understanding, they had 3 right back in there. They had 3 great big stills where they were making moonshine. There was a house here a couple years ago, just burned down. A mobile home. Now there's, for the trail riders who ride the outlaw trails, y'all know who you are. There's 2 turnoffs up here that will take you to the outlaw, just really wooded, unregulated, no government agency maintains the trails. That's one of them right there. And right here at this blue fire department, this is the Blackberry Fire Department's metal building. You right there. That's what it looks like. If you turn right here and go up to the top of the mountain and turn right, simple as that. Go to the top of the mountain, turn right. You'll see it. It's a dirt road, and it just goes out into the middle of nowhere, miles and miles and miles and miles of absolutely nothing but wilderness. You know, just the thickest Appalachian forest you can possibly imagine is what's up there. But I've done a couple camping videos up there too. I remember the flood. There was a barn on top of this one sitting on its side. Had a wedding. I can marry trail riders too. Take them out mountainside somewhere or at a historic site and marry them. And I had these two riders. I caught COVID that day too. We came up through here, and it was a day after a flood. And I told them, you know, look, the creek has been up really bad, and do you want to reschedule? Can you get us through? Yeah, I'm sure I can get you through, but it's going to be pretty bad. It's going to be pretty muddy, pretty, you know. Yeah, let's go ahead and do it. If you're okay with it, we're okay with it. We counted, I think it was 22 cars in the creek over here. That day we counted 22 cars in the creek, and that was the day I caught COVID too. Yeah, I'm going to remember that day. I'll probably remember that day when I'm old and gray, won't I? Well, almost there. It's just right up here around the curve. I got a gravel stuck in my tire tread. I can hear it clicking. Okay, now there is also a graveyard on your right up here. Now you're not allowed to have side-by-sides up there, so side-by-side riders, sorry, it's off limits. You're off limits to side-by-sides. Preacher Ants McCoy, Preacher Ants Hatfield, and several others are buried up there. And it is right. Where is it? Right there. Right there where that sign is. That's how you get up to that graveyard. But now they close at night. They close the gate. And side-by-sides aren't permitted. Just street vehicles. You can drive your car up there and look at the grave. There's an old wash stand. And here is the hog trial cabin. Right here. Now this is I guess you could say the premier Hatfield McCoy feud site, because so many of the events from the feud happened at this property. You know, this was where Preacher Ants lived. And historic Hatfield McCoy porta potty. This was where Preacher Ants lived, and the hog trial took place here. This was where Ellison got stabbed, where the three McCoy boys were rounded up and taken to the Pawpaw Tree site. Like I said, this is probably the premier, other than the graveyards, you know, where the people are actually buried. This is probably the most well known of the Hatfield McCoy historic sites. A lot of them are hidden, you know, and this one's right by the road. And a whole lot, like I said, of the events that you guys have probably heard about actually took place right here on this little piece of property. But now you know how to get here in relation to Matewan. You know how to get to some of the sites. And all of you trail riders, y'all know how to get up to the Outlaws. Now, I've got to go back down this way, go back the way we came to the Pawpaw Tree site. Now, when I get to the Pawpaw Tree site, it'll be on the right, and I'll be turning left to go up the hill to show you guys another site up that way. See you in a second. Okay, we're almost back up. Had to swap out batteries. That's the Hatfield McCoy Park right there. Pretty little house, isn't it? I always like that red out here in the country. I just think it's cute. That's where we are going. right up here on the left is, well, right up here on the right is the Pawpaw Tree site where we were just at before the cabin. And instead of turning right to go to the Pawpaw Tree site, we'll be turning left to go up the hill. And that's where Sid's at up there, and this and another graveyard I want to check. I was leaving the cabin. I don't know if y'all noticed the two motorcycles in the video at the cabin. Well, it turns out they're from Georgia, and they're up here doing a week-long ride on their motorcycles and just going from looking at historic sites and Hatfield McCoy places, and asked me if I happen to know where Asa Harmon McCoy was buried. Yup. I stayed there for a few minutes, you know. Yeah, he's up this way, and have you been to this, and have you been to that? You know what I mean? I just like doing that stuff, you know, hanging out with trail riders and tourists and stuff. You know, they're having a good time. You know, they're not having anything bad going on, and they're always in a good mood. Now this is Radio Tower Road, because there used to be a radio tower up here. I brought y'all up here. This is where Sid's at, but I never really showed how to get here. But we'll do that today, since we're showing how to get to a lot of these historic sites, you know, in relation to Matewan, how to get there from Matewan. Right up here at the top of the hill, that's the old radio station right there. And that's where we're going to park. Right here in the shade. Now there's a graveyard down this way that I'm going to go check here in a minute. It's one that, right here. I'll just show you rather than try to tell you in the truck. The Sid Hatfield from the Matewan Massacre, right? He is buried out here, a local hero, and, you know, a historical hero as well. He's not just a local hero. Mayor Testerman is out that way, and Ed Chambers also out that way. And we've got some videos about that cemetery if you guys want to check them out. But the one I'm going for, see, I was over looking for somebody else, and I was down this way looking for somebody, and all the leaves were off. This was when it was, you know, cold winter weather. Happened to look through the trees. I see another cemetery right over there. And this is right outside the historic town of Matewan. It's an old cemetery, and there's still a lot of historical characters from the Feud and other events around here that we have yet to find. And so I'm going to go check that out. Now that'll be a separate video if y'all want to check that one out, because it's probably going to take a few minutes, you know, to go through the graveyard and see exactly who's there and what's going on and all that stuff. But if y'all want to check that one out, you know, we'd certainly love to have you. And we'll be doing that video right here. Matter of fact, as soon as I hit end on this video, we'll be going to do that video. But this is how you get to Sid's, where Sid is, and Mayor Testerman, and Ed Chambers, and quite a few other Hatfields as well. Now this is not the graveyard where Ellison Hatfield is buried, or where Devil Anse Hatfield is buried. Those are both different cemeteries. The rabbit right there. Y'all see the rabbit? See how close we can get. He knows, don't he? He stopped chewing. What a matter, little bunny rabbit? What a matter? Ain't not much bigger than a little guinea pig. He's a baby.
This memorial is dedicated to the memory of Sid Hatfield by the United Mine Workers of America and the following local unions. So, of course, there is a rumor that Sid Hatfield was actually the one that killed his best friend so that he could marry his wife. But we will never know, will we? But either way, they're buried right next to each other. For as long as this cemetery stands, anyways. Defender of the rights of working people, gunned down by Phelps detectives on the steps of the McDowell County Courthouse in Welch, West Virginia during the Great Mine Wars. We will never forget. His murder triggered the miners' rebellion at the Battle of Blair Mountain. So if anyone hasn't seen the video we did on Sid Hatfield, I'll leave the link in descriptions. It's one of the first videos we did. Sid was also young, 1893 to 1921. So a year after the Matewan massacre, Sid was going to court with his wife, and he was killed on the courthouse steps. A year later, his wife was originally married to Mayor Testerman, his best friend. He then married her, and a year later, she lost him too. So the guy that was gunned down with Sid Hatfield was Ed Chambers. Ed Chambers was also there to go to court. And he was murdered as well. He's buried just stone's throw from Sid. Also a young man, 1899, 1921. Ed Chambers says, God defends the right, killed at Welch, West Virginia in McDowell County by the Phelps detectives.
Latch is all in place. And we appear to be ready to go. Yep. Looks as though. Anyway, without further ado, appreciate you guys. Thank y'all for coming along. Thank you to all of our viewers, supporters, page members. Thank you to YouTube, Patreon, a whole bunch of people. If I'm leaving anybody out, I'm sorry. Thank you. But anyway, guys, y'all have a really good day, and we will see you next time. Leo out.